Andrea Case, CTV News, Toronto. Okay, all of you broke my heart in this film, first of all, and that is a good thing. Bradley, can you talk a little bit about becoming a musician, playing the guitar? As you just said, you shot it in 8 minutes. We would have obviously thought that it was take after take after take, but it was brilliant. And Lady Gaga, can you talk about songwriting? Can you both talk about songwriting? Because we can hear these songs in our minds on the radio. They are real songs. They're not just something you drop in a film to bridge something. The songs are almost like a character in the film for both of you.
Absolutely.
Well, all the lyrics forward the story.
Yeah, there's not
That's
one
the crazy thing about it.
Yeah, I mean the music, the songs are a complete character in the movie, and there's not one lyric that's not purposefully put that's either reflecting where a character's at, what the relationship is, or what they're yearning for. So it's constantly propelling or reflecting on what you're seeing while it's happening. It was a very amorphous thing that was cultivated along with the script. I mean, we were changing and implementing songs depending on, weeks before we were, or days before, or on the day.
On the day.
We had this sort of arsenal of music that was being cultivated. We would sort of leave the set and then go to the studio and work. But in terms of my own evolution as a musician, it's 100% due to this person right here. And it's odd because so much of our relationship is reflected or reflects from what the relationship of Allie and Jackson. I mean, she really gave me the confidence from the very first time I met her. We were singing together 10 minutes into meeting, which I don't know how that happened.
And I was freaking out over his voice, like going, I can't believe how incredible your voice is.
But it really gave me the confidence to then really work on it. And then we started writing songs. I started writing songs and arranging songs, and her masterful ability to cultivate talent. That's the thing that, I mean, we all know that she's so talented, but she's such a cultivator of talent and so selfless with her, not giving her knowledge and enthusiasm to other people, which was really wonderful. And that created a harmony of all the writers. Jason Isbell wrote an amazing song, Mark Ronson, Hillary Lindsay, Lucas Nelson, I cannot say enough about.
Yes.
Lucas Nelson, who I saw at Desert Trip, and it was on the Jumbotron. I love the way Neil Young plays guitar, and a lot of Jackson, I like that muscular way that he plays. I didn't want it to be sort of lyrical. But I found myself looking at Lucas Nelson on the Jumbotron, who was playing right next to him, and I met him the next day, and his band winds up being Jackson's band, and he was integral to the creation of the sound of the music.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Karen Bliss from Billboard. We've lost so many artists, young and veterans, to addiction, and I'm just wondering, the two of you being, in the entertainment business for as long as you have, and, just that environment and the story for A Star Is Born, if you have any insight into the obligations of managers and label people and publicists and assistants and even family.
I think what would be wonderful, not just for artists, but for the whole world, is that we intervene early in life when we see people struggling. I think that fame is very unnatural, and we see that Jack is struggling in this film. There's substance abuse, there's trauma. Allie also, I believe, for me, she suffered from depression at the beginning of the film, not believing in herself. And I think that it's important that we, guide artists and take care of them on a psychological level as they begin to rise, because everything changes. And the truth is, people think that we change, but it's not us that changes, it's everyone around us that changes. And if we could be more careful with the human spirit, not just for the artists, but for everyone. I think that intervening early, teaching people about kindness, teaching people about compassion, teaching people about how to reach out and be there for someone, even when they don't even know that they're sad. And it might be so deep that they can't even pinpoint it. I think that that's very important, and I think it's something that's touched on in this film as well.
Yeah, very well said.
Go ahead, yeah.
Hi, amazing film, absolutely loved it. My question is for Bradley. I went to see The Elephant Man in 2014, and after the show you gave me advice that changed the trajectory of my life as an actor and as a drama student. So I just wanted to know...
God, what did I say?
Yeah, what was the advice? You can't
and tell me so I can learn.
It actually was in the film that in the next week I had an audition with the casting director of Limitless, coincidentally, but it had a lot to do with your individualism is your strength and not trying to be like everybody else. And the casting directors need you more than
I would say,
them.
never mind. I was
So my question to you is, as a director and as a writer of this film, since this is your first time being a director, what advice changed the way that you approach this filmmaking?
You know, thank you for saying that. You just made my day.
Thank you.
Did we meet? I said that to your face?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know maybe it's crazy, but I feel like I remember it.
Georgetown sweater.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The advice that I got was posthumously. It was I watched a documentary with Mike Nichols. It was like a week before we started shooting, and I think it was a Q&A that he had done close to his death, actually. And they asked him how he approaches directing, and he said, "I approach it the same way I approach acting. I prepare as much as I can. I show up on set and I throw it all away." And that really gave me the license, the confidence, the courage, because that is how I act, and I thought. That it feels like that's how I wrote the script. It's how we collaborated and prepped. It's how we've talked about it for 2 years, you know, when we were just morphing. It's how we all did it on set. And hearing Mike Nichols do that and seeing the work that he had done, I thought, okay, that gave me the confidence to do it like that.
Yeah, let's go right there.
Hold on, wait, did you get the part? Like, what happened?
I didn't get the part, but I was on Law and Order last season.
You go right. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks.
And then we'll go to you.
Okay. Hi, Bradley. Neil Smith from BBC News in the UK. Could you say a little something about shooting in Glastonbury? And were the crowd receptive? Did the weather play its part? And the mud there is famous. So how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I can't say enough about Glastonbury. Glastonbury is, if no question, I've gone the past 6 years. This last summer was fallow, so it was the first time I missed it. But it helped propel everything that this movie is. I was able to, you spend 4 days there, and I learned so much about just the inner workings of what it is to put on a show. So to actually be there, and that Nick and Emily, who it's the largest privately owned music festival in the world, and it is the place that makes careers and can rejuvenate careers. There's that 3 p.m. slot on Saturday that Lionel Richie did and Dolly Parton, and it just recatapulted them. And it's a really magical place. It's a magical place. And you watch major, huge musicians still get nervous. They talk about playing the Pyramid Stage at Glastonbury is still this place of fear and beauty. And so it is a really incredible festival that I urge everybody to go to if you can. And Nick and Emily were kind enough. I don't know if anybody's ever shot a fictional movie there. Glastonbury has been portrayed in movies, but it hasn't been Glastonbury. And it's a crazy story. Chris Christopherson, who came to set, happened to be playing Glastonbury last summer. And I asked him if we could, because they said, we'll let you come on the Pyramid Stage, but you have to let somebody play into your set time-wise. And he said, sure. So Matty Libatique, myself, Steve Marr, the sound guy, that was it. We went to Glastonbury. My buddy usually handled the other camera just because we knew we had 4 minutes. And it was unbelievable. I just didn't want the movie, I didn't want this to make a movie about music without Glastonbury being an element. I wanted those flags. I wanted what that, you know, so people who know music will be like, oh, well, yeah, that's Glastonbury.
Right here.
Tamara, Icon London Magazine. Listening for you here, it seems like there is a large place for synchronicity or these magical coincidences during the filmmaking or film preparation to the film. Like you mentioned, you've heard Stephanie singing live just the day before you went to see her. So I'm wondering, does the synchronicity or these little coincidences, does it play a large part in filmmaking, you believe?
I think it plays a large part in life. I think true art can only be created if you're completely open for moments to occur. And I think that's what I hope was the fun that we all had on set every day. You know, I remember Dave and I, you know, we would go back in the house. Like, once we left that house and sat on that bench, it was like we were in this live universe, right? And then we would huddle in between and just talk through stuff. What about this idea, that? And then we'd go back into this large universe where you don't know what's going to happen. You know, and the more I know that I stay open, the more art can be created. And if I'm thinking about it too much, I'm dead. We were talking about this last night. You know, it's the only way that I know that because really art is just something that's out there, and then if you're open, it flows through you. It's nothing that you really create. That's the way it feels experientially to me, at least.
I feel like you also like make an environment where you can channel that kind of inspiration. Like something about the culture you set. I'm telling you, man, it's very unique. It was really fun to be there. It's like beautiful to be there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So I guess so those moments you're talking about occur because of that, and then we use the word synchronicity for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Justin Gerhardt from Queer Network News. This is for Lady Gaga, Stephanie. Just talking a little bit about the transformation that you've made personally from being Lady Gaga, this huge queer pop icon, and then we've seen you start to act more and more and more, and we've seen it all be stripped away. So just a bit about that for you and what that's been like, and how the queer community has influenced some of that.
Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome.
Well, I do love makeup, and I love fashion and costumes and drag, and I do a lot of it myself. But, you know, sort of tying into the last question, I think it was the friendship that we developed together where I really trusted him in exposing myself in a way that I've never exposed myself before. He wanted no makeup on my face. During the screen test, he took a makeup wipe and wiped it down my face, and I was like trying to trick him with my no makeup. And he looked at the makeup wipe, and it was all, you know, brown and concealer, and he was like, "Take it off." So we took it all off, and I dyed my hair my natural color quite a bit before we started filming because I wanted to get into the character. And it was a challenge, but it was also very liberating. And to me, anytime I'm doing anything, especially with an actor of his caliber, and I've always been such a huge fan of Bradley, and was so excited to be the first, lead actress in his film, I wanted to give everything that I had, every last drop of blood, everything, all my fear, all my shame, all my pain, all my love, all my kindness, everything. I wanted to give it to him, and I wanted to give it to everyone on this couch. So what I will say is just that, I think a lot of it has to do with the family that was created and that came from the top. And every single person on set, from the cast to the crew, from the top to the bottom, we were a family, and every day was beautiful. And as far as my relationship with the gay community, like I said before, I would not be here without the gay community and how they have wrapped their arms lovingly wrapping their arms around me. It's something I'm very grateful for, and it's something that I'm also very grateful for that Bradley honored in the film. I think it's very beautiful, and to be honest, I just feel very lucky to be here. I'm a East Coast Italian American from New York who dreamed of being an actress, and I didn't make it, so I gave up and pursued singing. And I'm here today because this man believed in me, and that's also a lot of what this story is about, is the power of believing in someone and what that can do for the human spirit.